buttons to press. Yeah, I feel like we're going.
You got 39 watching.
I think we're rolling, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Hello, everyone. It is Concrete5's turn to shine in 2016, and we are so excited to be here with you. For years I've been saying Concrete5 is ubiquitous. It's like a screwdriver. You can build a doghouse with it or a skyscraper. There's no vertical market. And that is a great soundbite. It is true that small projects organically mature into larger ones very well with Concrete5. However, you can't be everything to everyone, and we've been spending some time thinking about our sweet spot. An organization that has a team of people working on their website really benefits from using Concrete5. Maybe it's a company doing $10 million a year or more in revenue with a marketing department tired of calling that one web guy for every change they need to make to their complicated site. Maybe it's a large organization like Planned Parenthood or the US Army with hundreds of content editors securely making changes to parts of their site with limited training but effective workflow. Maybe it's a school with contributors who have a wide range of skill sets wanting to edit their own sections and use a development process that makes sense for their unique team. All of these types of projects are wildly successful with Concrete5 today. While we're happy to have you using Concrete5 on anything that makes sense for you, 2016, for us, is about positioning Concrete as the best open source solution for these mid-sized projects. Our sweet spot is capitalizing on the in-context editing feel that all of the hosted web builders base their user experience around, but offering it to the more discerning larger client with bigger needs. Those clients know their web presence will grow over time, and for that type of client, we have a uniquely appealing product today. What this means for Portland Labs is a focus on support. We've taken on huge projects in the past ourselves, and while we'll always continue to offer development services, we are just not a full-service interactive media firm any longer. We offer no design or strategy services. We can't worry about your content or your SEO. We just offer Concrete5 development and support contracts, and that's the way we like it. Think of us as a really great stage manager for a Broadway play. The agency is the director, the client is the performer on the stage selling their ideas and products to the audience. It's our job to make sure the set is properly built, the theater runs well, and any emergencies are handled efficiently. Every director brings their own process and team to the equation, and every actor has their own needs too. It's our job to support what works for everyone involved. Serving this balance between creating and running websites is exactly what Concrete5 has always excelled at technically. The services we offer from Portland Labs will focus on enabling that same balanced solution, but through an ongoing relationship. We are relaunching our support offering at concrete5.org. We are adding an optional agency of record model so we can clearly augment any shop's service offering with our own support, certification, and approval. We are repricing our enterprise software. We are launching a new partner program. We want your web shop to include our support plans and enterprise extensions in your proposals. Count on us to help you build the hard parts right. We know our success has been because of the passion of our whole community, and we want to continue growing together with you. With version 7 being out for over a year, Concrete5 has really changed. Our codebase has become more appealing to standards-driven developers to the point where our own Corbin Santo has taken an active role in contributing to the new recommendations in the PHP Fig. Version 7 has had the real-world time to get its kinks worked out and makes version 6 feel dated. The emphasis on responsive design, grid-aware layouts, mobile preview, those features have all panned out to be exactly what the market demands. From abstracting page types from templates to the new strongly typed content framework we've been building, there's more exciting improvements and changes to Concrete5 in the last 12 months than in the previous 3 years combined. I feel just like we did back in 2008 when we went open source. It's great to have a product you're really proud of that you want to share with the world. Another huge change for us has been the decentralization of Portland Labs. We used to have expensive offices in the hip part of town, hire local talent, and start training them from zero on Concrete5. Now we work on Slack and meet every once in a while in a room full of couches and whiteboards. We have an international pool of freelancers who we all know from their GitHub work on the core, and Andy and I are both super excited to be working with each and every one of them. We can engage the best talent from anywhere instantly, 24/7, and everyone can decide for themselves what makes a nice work environment. Being an old 90s web guy, I love this new evolution in startup culture. It's a massive improvement. You just have to learn how to depend on software for process instead of conversations by the foosball table. It is going to let me personally work from anywhere in the world, and come next fall, that's exactly what I intend to do. I will be taking my family on tour as we go across the UK and Europe from September on. I hope to visit a lot of shops and people that are using Concrete5 on my way, so if you'd like to meet, I would love to hear from you. We might even dip through the Pacific on the way home. E-commerce remains an open concern here, but has no official launch date yet. It ties directly into the work we are doing around data types. Over the years, we've seen a need to disconnect the content you might want to manage from the pages it's managed on. Data types will make building an application just as easy to do with Concrete5 as building a content-driven marketing site is today. Imagine being able to throw a bunch of custom attributes together, call it boats, and then easily create a relationship to marinas, and have all of the list, edit, and add interfaces that manage that data automatically generated for you. Add the ability to bring data in from third-party feeds like Salesforce or SAP, and all of a sudden Concrete5 becomes a really powerful content management system with a nice web builder GUI on the front end. We will use this new strongly typed data model to power our own free e-commerce solution, which will really focus on the content management side of the problem and rely on third-party solutions like PayPal and FoxyCart for the checkout, discounts, taxes, shipping, all of that. This keeps our team from being spread too thin. E-commerce is just a huge problem to get right on its own. It also makes Concrete5 and e-commerce appealing for all sized clients, including the bigger ones. We'll be releasing some other add-ons focused around building business needs, including a calendar, a career section, blog, and press room. We're planning some cool ideas for an A/B testing and personalization suite. We're rebuilding large parts of Concrete5.org. There are a lot of things happening at Portland Labs this year. That said, we're notoriously bad about marketing what we've done. Concrete5 has been a well-kept secret for way too long. As this third period of huge change comes together in 2006, we need a voice to scream to the world about the awesome things being built with Concrete5. And that voice, our new technology evangelist, is Jessica Dunbar. Jess has been a Concrete5 fan since the very early days. She helped Trivera build some great Concrete5 sites over the years, and she's been very active in the Joomla community, where she just left a role on the management team to join us here full time. Her responsibility is to grow the project, and that is it. To that end, she'll be managing training and certification, and also run parts of the community marketing events and so on. She is a full-time Portland Labs salaried employee, but she is not involved in sales, support, operations, or any of the services we offer. Her only job is to drum up the groundswell of developer interest that drives an open source project. We've only been working with her since January started, and we can already feel the difference. Very excited changes around here. Good to have you here, Jess. We're going to bring her out in a minute. We just announced an important project for Portland Labs with the U.S. Army MWR group. Over 80 sites are being redesigned and centralized into a single Concrete5 install that disseminates information to millions of soldiers, spouses, family members, and friends. It is a huge responsibility to get right, and we think it's a great story for agencies to tell their larger prospective clients about Concrete5. So in the past year or two, a lot has been changing, and now so much of it is finally coming together in 2016. This is a perfect time for new developers to get involved with Concrete5. Maybe you have felt like a small fish in a big pond on some other projects. Well, we are eager to have your contributions here. Andrew and I are both very accessible, and Corbin hangs out in IRC all the time. We've completely revamped our labeling system on GitHub, and we have more third-party developers getting pull requests accepted than ever before. Some of those developers are now contractors with us here at Portland Labs. Our documentation has just been relaunched as a wiki, where it's easy for anyone to contribute. Even a typo fix might get karma points and your name and lights on the leaderboards. Sure, our version 7 marketplace has hundreds of listings, not the thousands upon thousands you can find out there for WordPress. But to me, that sounds like a great opportunity for somebody who wants to be a big fish in a small pond that's growing. Even in this last awkward year of non-backwards compatible version 7 launching, the more popular themes gross developers, on average, about $10,000 and sometimes up to $20,000. It takes time to build a good theme and get it approved by the PRB, so now would be a good time to start doing that, as the rising tide of Jessica's promotional efforts will float all boats. There are a lot of ways to get involved. We are a diverse community of content creators, designers, and developers, and all of us together make Concrete5 what it is today. If you're not sure what you can do, but you would like to help, please do use our contact form to get a hold of Jess. She's eager to contribute any and all energy you can offer. So, thank you very much for your attention, direction, and help over the years. It's been an amazing adventure so far, and the future is looking very bright for Concrete5 indeed. Let me now introduce Jess. We'll bring her out, and we will take some questions. We have Jess on Skype. We'll hang her up right there. Let me see you.
Hello.
Everything's laggy for me, but I assume we can see Jess. And
Yeah, it's lagging for me too.
All right. Well, you can enjoy hearing yourself in the past. It's a unique experience. Do we have any questions I should be addressing?
I just asked. We have about 56 people watching right now. I know there's probably closer to 70 with downstairs going on.
Oops. You still there?
Yep.
Good. Wow, they make these pretty solid. All right. Anything I can tell you more about?
How many certification tests are there going to be?
Certification is going to change around a little bit. So if you didn't do certification for version 6, the way we did it at that point was we made really granular tests that were just about specific things that we ended up doing a lot in the wild. So do you know how to move a Concrete5 site from one server to another? And that worked well. It made it easier for us to do, but it was kind of confusing for like, well, am I getting, what is the point of these tests? Is there some level I have reached? So moving forward, we're going to rethink that a little bit. Excuse me. We're going to have 4 different things that you can get certified as. So at the beginning is community advocate, and that's really what has kind of been community leaders in the past. And all you're basically doing there is saying, yes, I understand what Concrete5 is. I can speak with some authority to people who don't know anything about it. I'm not going to tell you it works well with Dreamweaver. So it'll be kind of a basic level of do you get it certification, and perhaps some karma points threshold that you have to be at. And then we can give you a badge, call you a community advocate, and send you some resources to do some local meetups and that kind of stuff. And this is very much Jess's territory, not mine. The next step up from that will be level 1 editor. And basically you're saying, I can run a Concrete5 site. For that, there will be one large multiple choice test and then a real world test. We're adding a real world component to each of the certification levels. And that real world component will be take this semi-broken site and this weird client direction email that we wrote all in caps and fix it, make it happen. You got an hour. And we will then evaluate the results. So, when you go and you find someone who says, look, I've been level 1 certified for version 7, you will know that they can fix your site unless they have to touch code. The next level up from that will be level 2 designer, and that will really focus on building themes. So it also will have a single multiple choice test. And then there'll be some options as to how we can kind of, what your exam will be, if you will. In that case, you can either get a theme approved by the PRB. That is a good thing to do and easy for everybody to look at there. And if you're building good themes, we'll probably have some additional threshold, so it can't just be like a blank page. But build a theme that meets a few key qualifying things that we'll list, and we'll review it and approve it. If you don't want to have your theme submitted to the PRB, maybe you work at a big company, you're like, look, I'm just trying to get certified because my boss told me to, there will be a way to pay to play and have our team actually review something private that you've done. And similar answer for level 3, which will be kind of the advanced developer level. There'll be a test, but then we're going to want to look at your code. So, if you're on a budget and you've got time, get us some GitHub pull requests that are really awesome, and we'll know you're great. Or if you're building an add-on and it's in the PRB and it meets a certain number of objectives, you probably have to have like a dashboard screen and some other stuff like that. But if it's beefy enough, we can just look at that and say, yep, you know what you're doing. Or there again, if you're on the corporate dime and you just need to get it done quickly, you'll be able to pay us to review your stuff. So those are the different levels of certification, 1, 2, and 3, with kind of the community advocate thing at the front end. Oh, that's pretty good. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
The next big question is, can you shed some light on which of the features you discussed about Enterprise will be free for C5 versus the Enterprise version?
Well, there is no Enterprise version of Concrete5. There are extensions that sit on top of the same lovely free core that everybody benefits from. And that has been kind of a very important key strategic choice that Andy and I, way back in 2008 when we went open source, there was some night at some bar saying, well, we just cannot do as other projects have, I won't name them, and have like an awesome Enterprise version and a crappy LITE version. So that being said, the Enterprise extensions for version 6, some of them are getting deprecated, some not. So internationalization, already we folded a bunch of that stuff into the core. There is still an Enterprise internationalization add-on, but it really focuses on the tools that you would need for a larger team to work on it. So it has workflow, it lets you export all the data as XML and you import it again. Things that you would need if you're engaging a translation company, but not stuff that you would need if you're just an individual trying to run a website in a couple different languages. Workflow exists for version 7 and 6. But there again, you get single-step workflow in the core if you just want to like trip an email and someone approves a page. And of course you can have approvers and editors, so you can have, I can write a page, but Jess has to approve it. But if you need multiple steps, if I need to write it, but then Jess has to approve it, but then inexplicably Corbin has to approve that, and if he denies it, it goes to Andy, but if he approves it, it goes live. If you want to model all of that, then you're a big company, and we would like some of your money. And that's kind of the philosophy behind the Enterprise extensions. CDAM was something that we had for version 6 and sold. That thinking is getting turned into data types in version 7. That ability to make structured content and not always tie everything to a collection object seems really fundamental and will help Concrete5 grow as an application framework. And we need everybody to be able to do that. I think there's probably an opportunity for us and you all in the marketplace to make some money building integrations to it. So, imagine you're building these kind of lists of data in your dashboard, and then you've got blocks and page types that can pull that stuff out. It doesn't take like a huge leap of faith to say, hey, it'd be really cool if there was like a plugin I could install that would automatically pull things in from Salesforce. So, that's the kind of thing, again, where like anybody should be able to play with this for free and say, hey, this is cool. It's like Microsoft Access for my website. But, as soon as my boss gets involved and says, hey, we've got to integrate with our enterprise stack, there's an opportunity there.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Will data types be enterprise only or also free? And then I get another question.
They will be free. That is going to be built into the core. And there'll be a lot of how-tos on how to use it. I think we will look for opportunities to kind of build things on top of data types and sell those.
Okay. It seems Portland Labs' business model is to use C5 to onboard support and development clients. By promoting Concrete5 to my clients, am I introducing them to my competition?
No, because we don't do what you do. So as I said earlier, we don't do any full-service design. We don't do any strategy. We're not interested in helping your client with their marketing plans or getting more users to their website. We are interested in the concerns that your prospect might have, that you build them a great website, you do an awesome job, and then you go snowboarding, and their website goes down, and they have no one to call. So that's what we're really trying to offer our help with. So to that end, what we're doing is we're bringing in this agency of record model to our support contracts. So if you have a certified person on staff, so you know what you're doing, then we can call you a partner and make you an agency of record on our support contracts. And what that means in broad strokes is anytime we might get a request from the client saying, hey, I want to build this thing, or this is broken, and we come back with a look, that's going to cost money to do. That's beyond us just fixing your broken website. That's new work. That request would go to you. You could either have us do that and bill through, or we're even talking about, well, look, we can work directly with your client and there can be a commission involved for you guys. We already do that a little bit with the agency partners that we have for version 6, where we have a discounted rate for agency partners versus what we offer kind of end clients. And so that's how we kind of want to see that mature. Just the way Concrete5 kind of enables that relationship between builders and site editors, our support should make sure that everybody feels comfortable, and you get to go snowboarding and your client gets to sleep and know their site will stay awake. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Good.
I think so. Any news on when database backups will be available in the dashboard?
Never. We didn't want to put that in there. That was a pull request that somebody else said, hey, you should really include this. And, okay. I mean, Andy's not here. He's working. I don't think it makes a lot of sense for us to be worried about exporting massive amounts of data on a server and out of a database all through a PHP session. Strikes me that there's a lot of tools out there that are server-based that already let you back up sites, and doing that from within Concrete5 it's just an uphill battle for what I think is diminishing results and a lot of risk. I know smaller sites have used that and it works well for them, and that's great. I know with our kind of focus on, hey, how do we make sure that these larger operations are comfortable with Concrete5, that script has never worked very well once you have a site that's hundreds or thousands of pages. All of the larger clients that we work with have production workflow challenges that are unique. It was kind of the golden grail of any middleware CMS is how do I move data and files from here to there and merge my changes into a live site. That seems kind of close to how do I back the thing up. If somebody else wants to really take that on as a pull request and has the expertise and energy to be like, no, this is amazing. I've queued it so it'll never time out, and it's secure. It's not sticking something with a password in a publicly accessible directory. Like that's all cool. It just doesn't really feel like content management to me. And we're a small team with lots of interesting things to worry about. Sorry.
Oh, any ETA on e-commerce?
Soon. It is a open concern. It is based on top of data types, which we are actively working on. Key part of this Army gig we're in the middle of. The Army is not actually selling anything on their site, so e-commerce is not a key part of that yet. But it is definitely something that we want as much as you.
Let me see if they get any more questions. They're chatting here.
And going back to the certification thing, those certification levels, the other distinction I realize I glazed over. In the past, we've kind of been a little laissez-faire about whether an individual or a shop is getting certified. So with our agency partner, sometimes it's a person, sometimes it's a shop, and all you really had to do to be an agency partner was pass the level 1 editor certification. What we're going to do moving forward is certification is tied to an individual. That is a person who has passed some tests. Like they are the person who knows how to do that. Your shop doesn't gain expertise. Your shop gains people. A partner then it can be an organization. So we'll have design partners and development partners. And design partner is effectively a shop that has a level 2 certified person involved. Developer would be level 3 certification involved. And then we have some sense as to the types of projects they do, the process, the budget, what kind of clients they're looking for, how they like working, the services they offer, and that type of thing. We will then rethink parts of our member directory, and all of that to really kind of focus on that. So better tools for finding a shop that might meet your budget and timeline and kind of priorities. Easier way to kind of see who's who and have that all tied together.
Okay, agency partners. Are there going to be different levels for agency partners? Example, very small shops or 100-man shops?
Yeah, I think we're going to have the two types of agency partners, the design and development, and you could be both, I suppose. Certainly makes sense to be both. I think the scale will be more of just attributes that we track in that directory of partners. I think at this point, we haven't talked about having like gold and platinum and that type of thing. We've also been focusing on keeping these partner programs free. So these are things that you join through your expertise and us understanding what it is that you do. But really, I see our role here as helping you land, close, and effectively launch projects. It really doesn't make sense for us to trying to be billing people who build websites a dime if we can afford not to. So we will additionally, there's some talk right now about kind of having, what are we calling them? Kind of international leads. So bringing some kind of basic kind of introductory page to concrete5.org for each locality and language, having someone translate that, but having that translation sit on Concrete5, and then link off to local resources. So instead of just having kind of, hey, whoever bought the domain, concrete5.yourcountry first, it's kind of, good thing you jumped on that. We could at least have a landing page for each country, and then we could list all of the resources that were going on in that country. And as people kind of step up and have energy or, have moved on to other things since we've been around for a while, we can kind of organize that a little bit better. So that'll all sit outside of that, and I don't know. I think we'll probably look for some level of certification in there, at least level 1, but I don't know if that'll have to be a partner. We will also have commission programs for enterprise support and enterprise products. So make it worth your while to include some of this stuff if you don't see the value in just providing a more complete stack solution to your clients on its own. Well, we can certainly provide a little fiscal value as well. But there again, I don't think that should be limited to people who are paying us something up front or something. We're going to try to be as inclusive as we can, provided that the expertise is there.
What is the status of Simple Sites, and is that continuing?
Yeah, Simple Sites is not going anywhere. It's interesting. The infrastructure for Simple Sites works really, really well. We spent a lot of time building that, I guess like a year and a little bit ago. And it's great. I mean, you can hammer that thing, and we were testing that by opening like 100 windows at a time. It'll queue things up and stack them and provision them, and it's really nice. It works really well as a demo, I think. If, we use that all the time. Like, we'll go set up a simple site and tell me if you can make that bug happen there. The idea of us competing with a Squarespace or a Weebly or a Wix with it, I think glazes over the tremendous amount of energy that they're putting into services and marketing, right? So we get a small trickle of people who want to kind of build their own website with it. And strategically, like if it makes sense for you and you can do it, and it certainly makes sense for me and I can do it, great, and it's pretty affordable hosting, and that's awesome. I don't think that we're ever really going to be able to go head to head with a Squarespace that can afford to have a room full of 100 hipster CSS developers providing 24/7 phone support on your $5 a month hosting account. So, I think we have to look a level up and say, look, if that's kind of editing experience you've come to expect, but you've got a couple of people working on your website, you're doing something for a day job, you'd like to have something that's as smooth to use as one of these kind of print shop pros for the web, but a little bit more of a beefy, Illustrator kind of vibe, that's us. And so to that end, Simple Sites becomes more of a demo solution. We'll probably use that infrastructure one day in the future. If we ever circle around to kind of have like pre-built starting points for specific verticals. As we're kind of looking at these larger clients, there are some clear verticals that do very well with Concrete5. Education jumps to mind. There's any number of universities and colleges that are using Concrete5, and could probably use like a great starting point to jump off of. So I could see circling around and kind of packing things up to say, well, look, here's a college site ready to go. But there again, I think it's just a larger challenge, and it involves a lot of business questions that we need to be honest about answering first.
Cool. Any plans for training beyond documentation?
Yes. So training is very much part of the certification. We can't really expect you guys to know the answers if we never offered a way to tell them to you. So training is something that Jess is orchestrating. Corbin is actually getting more involved in doing as well. Has started doing kind of his own PHP events and been interested in doing speaker stuff. And so having Corbin lead some of that training with Jess makes a lot of sense. So I think you'll see that coming the next few weeks, really, if not shortly thereafter.
Any chance we can get rid of the infinite scrolling on the forum and have a more standard forum layout?
Yes. So a number of things will change with Concrete5. What, you don't like the infinite scroll? Yeah. So we've going to change a whole bunch of stuff with Concrete5.org. You've already seen a little bit of that with the documentation site. The truth is that is a monster of a site, Concrete5.org, and it's not run in version 7. And there's so much love has gone into building that marketplace, and there's a lot of code in there, and it all works. And hitting upgrade, I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir on this. So what we're doing is we're kind of trying to distribute that thing out across some different properties. So documentation.concrete5.org is actually its own standalone version 7 site. It goes back to Concrete5 for authentication, but that's it. And so it can run on its own server. It's perfectly happy. We can keep that thing up to date, and that's great. So we are going to shave off and launch a separate authentication server. We are in the process of, and its job will just be to do single sign-on, and probably run the members directory. So it'll feel a little bit more like a who's who of Concrete5 and less maybe directly tied to the marketplace. Certainly all the same link backs, but give it more of a phone booky feel. Phone book's the wrong metaphor, but I think you know what I'm saying. Concrete5.org, the landing pages, what we're calling the marketing site, will become its own property as well. So we're redesigning that right now, and that should launch pretty quickly here. That'll be nice. That'll take a huge amount of the load off of our landing pages. So the home page, the tour page is turning into a feature section, all the enterprise, hosting promotional page stuff, everything else that you would think of as static content, the blog, the about section, all that will be its own site. And so as we kind of shave these things off, we'll be left with the community and the marketplace as the Concrete5 site that we have today. The community, the forum stuff, we're going to build a version 7 separate forum site and use that really to drive the main discussion towards version 7 specific. So right now, if you go to our forums, it's kind of this weird combination of like forum areas that made sense, in 2009 when we first started building with Concrete5 and editing with Concrete5, but have gotten a little vague over time. And then everything for version 7 is kind of just buried into one forum area. So what we want to do is kind of call all of the existing stuff legacy. We're going to start hearing us use the word legacy more often. And then make some new forum areas for version 7 and really just kind of push those forward as, well, this is where the conversation's happening unless you've got a legacy problem. And then, yes, there will be a more traditional kind of BBS landing page to kind of list these forum areas. We will bury that feed thing. It's still handy from time to time. Every so often, I at least use it to go, hey, what's going on in there? What are people talking about? But I think you guys are all right. That's not probably the primary way to engage with a forum. And I think the new version 7 stuff will be based on conversations and will be a standalone site. Although we will have to keep the existing stuff working for the support stuff for the marketplace.
Let me see here. If the certification includes demonstrating add-on and theme development via the marketplace submissions, is that going to also apply retrospectively retroactively for established marketplace developers?
I think it could. Yeah. I mean, I think the only problem we're trying to solve here is, if we're going to say you're level 3 certified, um, clients are going to expect that you really know what you're doing. So, if all that is a multiple choice test, that feels a little squishy for everyone involved, I think. So, we're really trying to be pretty open to how do we do that without creating a bunch of pain for you or us. I mean, we're certainly not going to tell you that you got to spend $1,200 to come fly to a training center and do a test in the flesh with us, as you might for like Red Hat. But the next level up, something a little bit more aggressive makes sense. So yeah, I don't think you would have to start a new add-on just because we decided that we have a new idea. I guess if we know that you are doing solid version 7 work, we can see a beefy add-on that meets requirements that we're writing now, and you've passed this multiple choice test. I don't see any reason that we would try to make it more difficult for you.
All right. Have you thought of addressing the problem with agency accounts at C5? We don't currently have a way to provide individual permissions to manage our add-ons or answer support tickets.
Yeah, there's a couple of things we can do there. First is, I think, as we rebuild the single sign-on server and that kind of who's who of Concrete5, there will be a strictly type model of, is this account for an individual or an agency? I don't want to spend weeks and weeks and weeks building management tools for who works where and that kind of thing, but some capacity to have a better sense as to, well, these are the individuals who are certified, this is the shop they work at. That I think is healthy. Having multiple people provide support inside of, I think we could probably solve that to some degree. It's definitely a good concern to keep on the table as we talk about how we're going to rebuild this stuff. The other immediate solution I can offer you is something that we did, frankly, selfishly. If you go into your add-ons today, there's actually an external support URL field that you can put something in. In many of the changes that have gone through decentralizing Portland Labs in the last year, we've started to use Zendesk to consolidate all of our support into one nice, simple place to go. Because in the past, we just had so many different funnels of people asking us questions. And I can tell you, it's an absolute joy to have one place to go and know that here's everything that's going on, as opposed to checking this inbox and that inbox and what's this post-it note and all that kind of thing. So if you go into your add-ons or themes today, you will actually find there is a field there that says, look, run external support. And what that does is that get help button now will just link to whatever that URL is. So if you're a larger shop and you already have existing support infrastructure, feel free to use it. This is something that people have asked us to do for years, and we kind of brushed it away as a concern because we really wanted to ensure that people were providing great support, and that and to keep folks honest about, look, if you buy an add-on, you get support for that, or we're failing in terms of having kind of a safe marketplace to shop in. So bear in mind, if you use that external support stuff, we can't really see how support threads went or not. So if someone is grumpily requesting a refund, it makes it more difficult for us to to offer that, hey, maybe if you wait another day or two, you get an answer. But I think in the real world, that's not a huge problem. Doesn't happen very often. And I know personally, being able to have one support system that everyone can use, it's night and day. So go enjoy that.
Okay, I have a tech question from the guys. At the moment, if my front-end developer builds using jQuery version 2.0, but C5 uses version 1.11, it's a real pain to ensure that they don't conflict. Same for jQuery UI. Is this going to be integrated so we can use it unintrusively?
Maybe. That's an Andy or Corbin question.
I know.
But I can take a stab at strategically. We tend to not be like bleeding edge on version things. I had a question recently: should I use Bootstrap 4 since that's starting to exist, and you guys are using Bootstrap 3, and if I'm going to have to suffer through upgrading through version 7, I'd like to be ahead of the game. That's smart thinking, but we can't be out there on the leading the pack on this thing. At the same time that we're promising the Army this stuff will always work. So we'll stick with our philosophy of kind of look, the latest stable version that everyone's using is what we're going to kind of depend on. And so that's an ever constantly updating shift in. I guess we really got to do this. That absolutely plays in with PHP versions as well. There's a lot of discussion internally and on Slack about what version of PHP should we require, and it's actually a surprisingly complicated question to think about. So I think you want a better technical answer, head to the forums. I'm sure Andy can weigh in on when he's going to look at that stuff again, what the value is, and that kind of thing. I believe there are ways to pretty easily. Well, actually, as I say that, probably not. I was going to say that you could probably get away with just disabling things when you are not in edit mode, but I think that we're actually doing a fair amount of depending on jQuery for core blocks and that kind of thing. So, not sure. I can also offer that we've been talking about, in terms of getting training kind of rolling, setting up a fixed time or a couple of fixed times where training will happen, and kind of the way we did with Totally Random back in the day, but a little less about the marketplace and more about how you build stuff with Concrete5, and let Jess and Corbin lead that kind of thing. And that would be an excellent question for that type of forum.
Okay, reading here. FoxyCart, people are wondering if it will be free, and also is e-commerce going to be built with FoxyCart or available with any other third-party plugin, and is it going to be made from scratch?
That's a great question, Jess. Yes, it will be made from scratch. It will be built on top of this extendable data types model. It will. It'll have, I think, the one huge takeaway that we had, two huge takeaways from existing e-commerce for version 6. First off, the way we kind of required products to have pages that got made, but not always, super goofy. So we want you to be able to manage a product tree without having to make pages for it, and we want e-commerce to have a single list detail set of single pages that can serve back your entire product catalog without you having to make pages in the site. Still want to give you those blocks so you could make a one-off page for some special thing, but just way too complicated to actually build out the tree in e-commerce for 6. The other big kind of, I think we did it wrong challenge with version 6 was tying the SKU to the marketing information for the product. And if you're deep into e-commerce type stuff, you get that, like, at its most granular level, you've got something that you can actually sell. But then you have these larger concepts of, well, that's a product. So if a t-shirt comes in different sizes and colors, each one of those things is a thing that has a price, then price might be different. That's what you're actually putting in a box, but you want a page that is t-shirts that has some drop downs to let you select that. The architecture for version 6's e-commerce does not do an amazing job of that. So there are some crafty add-ons that will let you kind of do configured pricing, but they're definitely like kind of throwing cruft on top of an approach that tied the SKU, the price, to the marketing information. So strategically, those were the two kind of like, okay, we need to rethink this mandates as Andy and I started scratching our heads about this some time ago. Easier to build product catalog and easier to have separate SKUs for marketing info. And then as we were kind of thinking about that and like all the work that goes into that, to everything else, that the discounts, the refunds, all that stuff, we just realized that like the marketing part is really the part that excites us, and we think we could do a good job at. Like, how do I describe that t-shirt? What are the attributes around that? Can I pull that data in from somewhere else? That type of thing. And checkout was kind of like a thing we had to do. So the strategy is we will be able to hook into any number of different systems for checkout. So we're talking about it shipping with PayPal and FoxyCart. So if you just have a simple site where you've got like you're accepting donations and you've got tickets that you're selling or something, you don't even really need a shopping cart. You just need a way to take people's money. So that is PayPal, and this thing will ship with the ability to easily, kind of drop something for sale in there, have a buy it now button, and have that take you out to PayPal where they can do all the glory of buying it now. Is that free? Well, it's free from us. PayPal takes 3% and fees and the joy of being PayPal. But it is definitely free in the sense of, hey, can I play with this thing and see if it'll fit my needs without having to give you $125 up front? Foxy is very much the same idea. It will actually give you a shopping cart, and we'll integrate with it in a way that will feel, pretty seamless. We're not going to hide the fact that it's Foxy, but it'll be a simple system to set up, and you'll be able to have a shopping cart and check out. And their model is also set it up, run with it. It's totally free. As soon as you start selling something, we're going to take a cut. So we're going to make our add-on free and integrate with those guys. And then, yes, I fully expect folks to come along and say, this is an outrage. I want to use my own. I want to use authorized.net. I would never pay 3%. And, here's my layer that does that. That's great. I also expect larger clients to say, finally, that's awesome. We're a huge company, and the idea that we would spend $125 on an e-commerce add-on is laughable. We're building an integration layer with Oracle. If we really focus on making e-commerce about the data management part of it, that the product info, and not so much about the pricing and commerce side of it, I think we do a much better job of being appealing to a wider range there.
Okay, I got the last few questions for you.
All right.
Will e-commerce be multilingual?
Should. That's a good concern.
And then ETA on 8.0 beta release. And is there any plans to improve the functionality with the content editor? Reactor is pretty bare bones.
Great questions. Version 8 is soon. And take a deep breath. It will not be a non-backwards compatible version like 7. We are definitely not interested in doing that again. So version 8 is going to be, Andy's going to kill me. I'm going to say in the next couple months. We are basically tying the data type stuff to version 8. There's a bunch of changes that are happening now, but there already is a version 8 branch in GitHub. The data types are a pretty deep improvement to Concrete5. Some of the other stuff that's going into it, we're adding folders to stacks and the file manager. Celebration. Folders seems like a good idea. So stacks will grow up and become, or sets rather, will grow up and become folders. Bunch of other little stuff, and then redactor's got to go. It's been real. Definitely at the time when we started working with it, which was, we've talked about version 7 for a long time, so I think it was really like sometime in 2013 that we were like, hey, this is great. It really was. Nobody else was doing that in-page WYSIWYG HTML editor very well. And we have gone through all of them. I mean, if you don't know the very early history of Concrete5, the first project we ever did was for the Ad Council, and it was 2003, and it was all in context editing, but like I actually built a Flash-based CSS rich text editor for that, and we have cycled through CK editor and TinyMCE, and I mean, you name it, it's been in there at one point or another. I believe right now what we're looking at is CK editor, right? Which one are we going back towards? We're doing something that is truly open source. We negotiated an open source license with the guys behind Redactor when we first launched, but now there's a new major version on that, so we'd have to go through that process again. And their strategy seems to be to make it do less and less stuff, but really gracefully, which that makes sense. I get that, but that's not really what the community is looking for. People miss the table builder and kind of the plugins of TinyMCE. So I think that right now we may have already completed this. I know it's a task in Pivotal. to integrate CK Editor because it now has a very pretty looking in-page editing experience. And I think that Joe and the Exchange Core team was working on that, and I think that's done or close to it, and will be part of version 8. So, celebration.
Hey. Okay, any other features going into version 8 that you want to discuss?
Oh, I think that was a pretty good rundown. Data types is the huge, oh my god, this is so amazing deal that I think lets us get away with calling it version 8. Bunch of small stuff. I don't know, you tell me, am I missing something? I feel like I just covered that. Folders.
Yeah, I thought so. Bootstrap 4 you covered. UI improvements.
Yep, always tinkering with the UI. But I think data types is what you should be looking at in version 8 as a game changer.
All right, any last comments?
This has been fun. We should do this more often. Yeah, I mean, it's really been an exciting adventure so far. I kind of feel like we're just starting the third book in the trilogy of Concrete. We had this kind of initial phase of being a closed source system where we just hustled for agencies, and we were kind of a chop shop for agencies here in Portland, and Concrete was just our private toolkit that they enjoyed using it. We then went open source and kind of had this second book in our trilogy of we'll do anything for anyone, and let's just grow this project, and did a lot of awesome stuff, made some mistakes, everybody does. Really got sucked into being kind of both a full-service interactive media firm and trying to run this product. And now with version 7 and it really becoming stable and used and ubiquitous, and it really feels like everything is coming together. And we're kind of positioning ourselves back into that, look, we just support your creative ideas, but on a much larger scale. So, for me, it feels like, we're restarting the Return of the Jedi here, and it's just super exciting times. So, I'm really glad we've got, I'm going to throw Jess on the ground.
Did you drop me again?
No, I've turned you somewhere off. We're going to listen to Ramona Quimby here. I'm glad we got Jess. We're lucky, and I'm glad we've got all of you guys too, and gals. It's awesome to be part of something so much bigger than what we do on ourselves. Yay.
Oh, one last crucial question that I have to get in here. Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Oh man. That's a toughie. I mean, Rolling Stones has to, you really want to say Rolling Stones, but you think about later Beatles. I think the White Album is probably my favorite album ever made. But early Beatles, like, it's fun for the kids. Rolling Stones just has a certain swag that the Beatles never really got. That's kind of like, beer or whiskey. Sure.
Awesome. There's quite a bit of discussion on the chat if you want to jump in there after we're done.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to sign off and start sending some emails, but I will see you guys online, and look forward to some more announcements from Jess as the certification and training stuff starts to take off. There's going to be more opportunities to kind of get involved in these kind of group work sessions Corbin's very excited about running. And as we have more interesting news to talk about, we'll keep doing these things as well. So thank you very much, and we'll see you again soon.